The Olympic truce. As you know, the IOC president went to Hiroshima, and John Coates, the chair of the COCOM, went to Nagasaki. The Secretary General of the United Nations, Antonio Guterres, sent a video of support both for the Olympic Games and for the Olympic truce. It's very short, and I thought it would be good to start today's press conference with that video. In a few days, athletes from around the world will come together in Japan for the Olympic and Paralympic Games. They've had to overcome enormous obstacles to participate in the middle of the COVID-19 pandemic. We need to show the same strength and solidarity in our efforts to bring peace to our world. The Olympic truce is a traditional call to silence the guns while the Games proceed. People and nations can build on this temporary respite to establish lasting ceasefires and find paths towards sustainable peace. Seeking peace and uniting around common goals is even more important this year as we strive to end the pandemic and build a strong, sustainable and inclusive global recovery. I call on all parties to conflict to observe the Olympic truce during the Tokyo Olympic and Paralympic Games and to build on it in the weeks and months ahead. Thank you very much. Without further ado, let me hand over to the IOC President, President Bach.
Thank you very much, Mike, and welcome to all of you. What is finally, I think, after 15 months, the first time we meet in person again. And this is a very special pleasure. Yesterday we marked the very day the UN Secretary General made reference to, because yesterday this Olympic truce resolution came into effect. And it was a very emotional visit there to Hiroshima yesterday, because we could feel there the support of the city of Hiroshima and the prefecture, expressed by the governor, the vice mayor, and then the relevant chairs of the parliamentary assemblies, and in particular of survivor, Mr. Kachiya Fumiaki, who was a torchbearer for the Olympic Games, and expressed his real great and very emotional support for the Olympic Games and their peace mission. And to experience this from Mr. Kachiya was really deeply touching. That in this moment, when we were in the museum and had our private conversation, that the first remark he made was not about the tragedy, not about the tragedy of his life, not about the tragedies of the many families. It was indeed about the support for the Olympic Games. And this still today is really a very emotional moment, which now when I talk about still gives me goosebumps. And then we visited there also the museum, and under the deep impression of this visit, you know, I started dreaming somehow, and the dream was that every human being should indeed have the opportunity to visit this museum and to come to Hiroshima one day. Because everybody who has seen this and has experienced this would then leave Hiroshima as an ambassador for peace. So I'm really very humbled by this visit and this human experience. And out of this humbleness, then I, committed not only myself but the entire Olympic movement to even strengthen our efforts to be ambassadors for peace, as Mr. Kachia had expressed it before. Today, in the meeting of the Executive Board, the focus was, of course, fully on Tokyo 2020, and there we have been informed by Tokyo 2020 that from 1st of July until the 16th of July, around 15,000 athletes, officials and other accredited people like you as representatives from the media and other accredited people have arrived here in Tokyo, and they all, as you know, have been tested upon arrival. Out of these 15, only 15 I may say, were tested positive at their arrival or during screening tests. So this is a very low rate of 0.1%. It goes without saying that all the concerned people were immediately isolated, and in this way they do not pose any risk to other participants or the Japanese population. And the close contacts of these people have been identified and are subject to the relevant anti-COVID protocol. I think this shows that the measures are not only in place, but that they are working and that they are enforced. We also had a discussion and a presentation then about how to mitigate the consequences of the decision of the Japanese authorities, supported by the IOC and the IPC, of not having spectators in most of the venues, because we, of course, want to support the athletes. We want to mitigate these consequences. We do not want the athletes to feel alone there in the stadia. We want to show them that many people are with them, that they are supporting them. And this even more so that these games will be followed by billions of people around the globe. So we would also like to give these billions of people around the globe to show their support for the athletes and to be with them and to show it to them that they are with them. And for this, we have created a number of experiences and initiatives to bring the fans together with the athletes in the venues. There is, first of all, the live cheer maps, where you will be able to see on a worldwide map how strong the fans from different countries and regions are supporting their athletes. So they can clap virtually and can express their support, and this support will be measured and then shown there in the stadia and in the different media. And I hope that maybe this can also create some competition, not only among the athletes, but also among the supporters, the fans in their countries. We will have another tool. This will be 6-second video selfies, which the fans can produce, and then these videos will be shown in the different stadia, but they will also be offered to the broadcasters so that they can show this engagement of the world population with their athletes and with the Olympic competitions. Then we will have, for a limited number, for logistical reasons, but for a limited number of athletes, the athletes' moment, where in some of the venues, athletes then can immediately after the competition meet family and friends or fans live and can communicate with them. So to have this link, this emotional link, this inspirational link with the ones who are close to the athlete. And then we will have for the athletes in particular the immersive sound system, a new technology of an immersive sound system where the athletes will be supported in their competition with the sound created from previous Olympic Games, and these related to their specific competition, so that again they feel to be in an Olympic stadium. They feel surrounded by spectators and by fans. And all this is an effort to bring the vibe of the world into the venues. And there are billions of people around the world will follow these Olympic Games, Tokyo 2020, either via broadcasting or other digital and media platforms. And there will for sure be, this is all indicators show this already now, that they will be the most followed games in the Olympic history. And these billions of people around the globe, they will admire the athletes, will support the athletes with the means I referred to earlier on, but they will also admire the Japanese people for what they have achieved under the circumstances prevailing in Japan right now. And therefore I would like once more to ask and to invite the Japanese people humbly to welcome and support the athletes from around the world. These athletes who are sharing this experience of the pandemic with the Japanese people. And like the Japanese people, they have overcome so many obstacles to be here finally. So the Japanese people can feel with them, and the athletes can feel with the Japanese people. And I'm actually very confident that the Japanese people will then, once the games are starting, at least, I hope maybe already before, not only welcome them, but support them, because this is what the Japanese people have demonstrated since the brilliant Olympic Games Tokyo 1964. Another opportunity for the people of Tokyo and the Japanese people to share the Olympic spirit and to enjoy the Olympic values is our project of the Olympic Agora. This is a cultural hub in the heart of the host city with a strong online presence for the reasons you know. This program takes place here in Tokyo, in the center of Tokyo, in the historic Nihonbashi district, and includes many activities about the Olympic values and about the blending of sport and culture. And there I may highlight just one of the programs. This is the Artists in Residence program for Olympians, for Olympic and Paralympic athletes who are now artists. And they will display their artworks there in this Olympic Agora. The EB also expressed its appreciation for so many NOCs around the world, for the solidarity, for the true Olympic solidarity they have shown in preparing athletes from around the world for the Games. And they are not only supporting their own athletes, but many NOCs have, for instance, secured the vaccination for foreign athletes and other stakeholders living and training in their countries. And there I can just name a few. It's really a big number. The NOC of Thailand has organized vaccination for swimmers from 11 other NOCs. The NOC of Portugal has organized vaccination for athletes from Portuguese-speaking African countries and refugee athletes who were selected in the refugee Olympic team. Pan Am Sport has established a vaccination hub in Miami for all the athletes from the Americas. We have established a vaccination hub in Doha, Qatar, for NOCs and athletes being interested in this region. To ensure that the playbooks are well understood and can be fully respected, the Jordan NOC translated the playbooks into Arabic and made it available to all the Arabic-speaking NOCs. The organization of the Oceanian National Olympic Committees, with all the very severe restrictions there in Oceania, made sure that all the delegations can finally arrive here in Tokyo. And by getting the athletes and officials from a number of the islands there in the Pacific together, and then having the flights for them so that they can take part in the Olympic Games. When Haiti closed its borders, the NOC of the Dominican Republic helped the NOC of Haiti to get their delegation here to Tokyo. And these are just a few examples. But all this, had to come together to ensure the universality of these Olympic Games, despite all the circumstances and all the restrictions, and to achieve this high vaccination rate with the vaccination program initiated and supported and inspired by the IOC, so that we can have now this vaccination rate of 85% of the residents living in the Olympic Village. So we also had an update on the very far-reaching measures in place to prevent and deal swiftly with competition manipulation, in this case match fixing during these Olympic Games. So this is about monitoring all the movements, about betting which may go on, and already to identify their risk factors in order to prevent, but in case of any infringements also to swiftly sanction. I think that's As a summary there for this executive board meeting today. And of course, I'm then happy to take any questions with regard to this or any other issue which you may want to raise. Thank you very much so far.
Thank you, President. We're going to have to do things slightly differently for obvious reasons. So what I'm going to do is call 3 or 4 people to the 2 microphones. Please keep your distance from each other, and let's also probably won't be able to recognise you with your masks on. So yes, gentleman here with the mask. Apologies if lady there, I think I recognise, but it's hard to know. Gentleman there and the gentleman behind. If you could go to two to each, that would really help me. Yes, sir, please.
Hello, Philippe
could you say who you are and where you're from? That would really help me as well. Thank you.
Hello, Philippe Leblanc from Radio-Canada, right here. The question would be in French for Christophe Duby. Les Japonais sont majoritairement opposés à la tenue de ces Jeux, encore plus quand on voit le nombre de cas de COVID qui augmente et est à son plus fort niveau aujourd'hui à Tokyo, au Japon, quand on voit qu'il y a un premier cas dans le village des athlètes. Comment pouvez-vous avoir confiance que les Jeux seront sécuritaires et que ça ne deviendra pas un important foyer de propagation?
Vous savez, la confiance se construit dans la rigueur. Et depuis le début de la planification, de la replanification de ces Jeux, la rigueur par rapport à toutes les questions médicales est au centre du dispositif. Nous avons, dès le départ, été très clairs que ça commençait en fait bien avant les Jeux Olympiques. L'information qui a circulé, notamment sur les playbooks, qui ont été largement circulés, y compris publiquement, était destinée à une chose, informer tous les participants de l'expérience et de ce que l'on attendait de chacun d'entre eux pour être de bons participants aux Jeux Olympiques. Et de bons participants aux Jeux Olympiques, ce n'est pas forcément cette fois-ci jugé en termes de performance, vous, nous, les athlètes, mais par rapport à notre comportement, par rapport aux règles qui sont établies, parce que ces règles sont extrêmement rigoureuses, elles ont un objectif et un seul, c'est de protéger les participants et de protéger la population de Tokyo et du Japon. Alors je ne vais pas rentrer dans l'entièreté du protocole, ce serait trop exhaustif, mais nous avons confiance qu'en identifiant 14 jours avant les conditions médicales de chacun des participants, avec un régime de test avant d'arriver au Japon,